So what was the question again? Oh, why is it called the traffic jam? Well, you know, the reason is, it's because I have two really cool cars. Seriously cool cars. And I love drifting, racing, because I am fast and slick, and plus I like to create a bit of traffic jam myself with a whole lot of great music. Bulumnaka, my name is Real, your host and DJ, right here on the Today FM Traffic Jam every weekday from 3 p.m. to 7, right here on Today FM, today's hit music.
In tonight's bulletin, work begins on a 5-year development plan for Fiji. Opposition MP Biman Prasad says remove all decrees, however the government thinks otherwise. And Fijian troops safe amid growing violence in Sinai. Hello and welcome to FBC News. Thank you for joining us. There is work on a 5-year development plan for the whole country. This was revealed to donors, bilateral and multilateral partners in a first-ever face-to-face meeting with Fiji's cabinet. Shireen Latta reports the plan will outline the focus of the Fiji government and where aid needs to be channeled.
There's been a flurry of activity from international partners following last month's election. Everyone is keen to help. Attorney General Ayaz Sayed Qayyum says this time around, there's going to be a more coordinated approach to development and aid.
So it is not just good for the government per se to say that this is our target, this is what we need to achieve by year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, but also members of the public will know. We'll also have the development partners will know, okay, this is the ball game and this is what they're going to do, and this is where we can provide them with assistance, this is where we can help.
For the first time, development partners, aid agencies and heads of embassies had the chance to talk directly to the policymakers, the newly elected ministers. Sayed Qayyum says there will be more discussions in weeks to come.
Talking to the ministers directly, to the various ministries directly, and developing a discussion around that. So for example, if a particular ministry feels that they need a particular equipment to help them do the job better, whether that a development partner may be able to provide that.
There's also a proposal for better coordination of community work done by NGOs. The idea is to make better use of aid money by getting NGOs to work with the government.
A particular area may say, oh, we don't have electricity. So an NGO may come along and say, let's give them solar energy. And on a bilateral basis, or individual country may come along and say, okay, we'll give you solar panels. But if they're not in tune with what government is doing, then it could be a waste of money, because perhaps the government is planning to put in extend the electricity grid to that area within 6 months' time. So that solar panels won't be used. It could be used better somewhere else.
The 5-year development plan is expected to be ready by the first quarter of next year. Shireen Latta, FBC News.
Opposition MP Professor Biman Prasad says all current decrees should be revoked, with a parliamentary democracy now in place. However, the Attorney General Ayaz Sayed Qayyum says the decrees will continue as stated under the 2013 Constitution. Maggie Boyle has more.
With Parliament on a break, the opposition side of the House is beginning to think out loud about the issues they'd like to address. One is the revocation of decrees currently in place.
At the end of the day, it is incumbent upon the government to ensure that all elements which support robust democracy, all obstacles that are there right now, for example, the media decree, the political parties decree, in some sense the electoral decree, the essential national services industries decree, all these decrees should come back to Parliament or should be repealed, and where necessary, if there are new laws to be enacted, then it comes through a parliamentary debate.
The Attorney General Ayah Said Kayum says the 2013 Constitution articulates that the decrees remain.
Well, it looks like that Honorable Prasad is looking for a bit of publicity. He should perhaps focus on the Public Accounts Committee. The Constitution does say that all laws that were approved and have been implemented since 2007 will simply continue.
AG adding, laws will be amended if and when they need to. However, for now, the status quo remains. Another issue Prasad says is ensuring the independence of state institutions.
In our case, the Fiji Islands Bureau of Statistics. And that organization ought to be a very, very independent organization from the point of view of providing key statistics to the people of this country. Whether it's population census, whether it's surveys on unemployment, whether it's a survey on poverty, these reports, these statistics should be independently released by the Bureau of Statistics.
He argues that while they are the opposition side of the House, they are keen to strengthen their ties within the civil service.
I've always said that in a parliamentary democracy, the opposition is as important as the government, and the opposition has every right to seek information from government agencies and departments. And I hope that as a finance spokesperson and a shadow minister of finance and possibly chair of the audit public accounts committee, we will have access to all government departments and independent advice and statistics as well.
Prasad stresses that the independence of state institutions is vital to a vibrant democracy, adding that this is common practice in a number of foreign civil services. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
The body of a man believed to be in his late 30s was discovered floating in the Singatoka River yesterday morning. The victim was last seen yesterday between 4 to 5 a.m. during a drinking party in Singatoka town. It was found at around 7 a.m., half submerged under the tramline bridge with visible injuries. Investigations continue and a post-mortem will be conducted soon. 2 men were arrested and are in police custody following an aggravated robbery case that left a woman admitted in the Lambasa hospital yesterday. Both suspects are 22 years old and allegedly committed the offence at Raranimbulumbulu, Lambasa yesterday morning. It is alleged the 2 assaulted 3 occupants of the home before making off with assorted items.
In the upcoming months, if the festive season draws closer, that people might be resorting to criminal elements to try and earn a quick buck in certain cases. So just the precaution measures must be adopted at all times, especially safety measures when it comes to securing your homes.
And the 2 suspects remain in custody as investigation continues. Coming up after the break, Fiji forms diplomatic ties with the Gambia.
My name is Luca. I live on the 2nd floor.
Gold FM, only the classic hits. I hope you're having fun so far. You're listening to The Ride, and I'm Kara, taking you through your afternoon. Stay with me to listen to more awesome classics right here on The Ride. Mulubinaka, for awesome sounds in the afternoon. Wonderful, wonderful classics. Join me on The Ride every weekday right here on Gold FM, only the classic hits from 2 to 7.
Just don't ask me what it was. I think it's 'cause.
Welcome back to FBC News. The Prime Minister Varenga Bainimarama has been welcomed at the Naulu Matua House in Nambawalu Bua in the Northern Division today. This is his first visit to the North since the September 17th election, meeting the heads of each ministry and departments in the Northern Division. Acting Commissioner Northern Alipatem Bolalevu briefed the Prime Minister on projects scheduled for completion in 2014 and those planned for 2015. The Prime Minister informed those present at today's meet that his government will continue to strengthen its reforms in the Northern Division. A key part of these reforms include infrastructure-based reforms such as roads, bridges, schools and hospitals. Nambawalu is also poised to be declared a town once all preparatory works on this process is complete. The Prime Minister was accompanied by cabinet ministers and senior government officials. Foreign Minister Ratu Inoke Kumbombola says Fiji is not going back to the Pacific Island Forum unless changes are made in the organization. The Fiji Sun reports Fiji has set conditions for its return to the forum. Ratu Inoke says Australia and New Zealand should move out of the Pacific Island Forum and for PIF to become development partners with the Pacific Island Development Forum. The Republic of the Fiji Military Forces has confirmed our troops serving in Sinai in the Middle East are safe despite violence in the area. A 3-month state of emergency has been declared in parts of the Sinai Peninsula after 31 Egyptian soldiers were killed in 2 attacks.
There are 339 Fijians serving in Sinai under the multinational force and observers.
Our troops in the Sinai operate in the area with U.S. troops, Uruguayan troops, Colombian troops, and also under the command of the Canadian force commander. The situation there in the last couple of months has become more volatile. However, our troops have been well looked after and are safe in the operations that they are conducting in the area.
Yesterday, jihadists killed Egyptian soldiers using a car bomb. Egypt has been in civil turmoil since the fall of President Hosni Mubarak in 2011. Fijians have been serving in Sinai since 1982 as part of a multinational force and observers. RFMF Land Force Chief of Staff Lieutenant Colonel Siti Benigilo says our troops are not in harm's way and the situation on the ground is nothing new.
Things have started to become active in that area ever since the Arab Spring that went across the Arab world and also continues to affect Syria till today.
The RFMF says relatives of Fijian soldiers serving in Sinai can contact the unit headquarters or the National Operations Center to inquire how the troops are faring. The Fiji contingent will continue with its operation in Sinai, the next rotation of troops in March 2015. Sabera Tambua, FBC News.
A prominent sports personality appeared in the Nandi Magistrates Court this afternoon, charged by FICAC for a count of bribery and false or misleading documents. The accused, who is a national squash representative, had his name suppressed by a court order. He has been released on $2,000 bail bond with strict conditions to report to FICAC 3 times a week and is under a curfew from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. It is alleged he tried to bribe a senior customs officer to release a consignment containing prohibited goods. He also allegedly produced 2 false tin letters. The accused will appear again on January 27th next year. Well, the main priority for the Health Ministry is to improve the standard of health services in the country. Health Minister Chone Usamate says the first step to do so would be to understand the current state of health services in the country. He made these comments during his tour of the Central Eastern Health Services in Tamavua, where he and Assistant Health Minister Veena Bhatnagar were accorded to a traditional welcoming ceremony and were briefed on the work the centre does. Addressing a small crowd at the centre, Usamate says he is aware of the difficulties faced by the ministry staff. He says he has noticed difficulties of his staff working for extended hours, not having a proper working place, and even staff who have the workload of more than one person. The minister is expected to have a discussion with its officials and other stakeholders on ways to improve the health sector soon. Fiji and the West African Republic of the Gambia have formalized diplomatic relations at the permanent mission of Fiji to the United Nations in New York. Permanent representative of the Gambia, Ambassador Mamadou Tangara, and his Fiji counterpart, Ambassador Peter Thompson, signed a joint communique establishing diplomatic relations. The communique conveys the agreement of both states for their diplomatic relations to be guided by the goals and purposes of the United Nations Charter and international law. The communique expresses the desire of both states to strengthen bonds of friendship and cooperation between their 2 countries in political, economic, cultural, humanitarian and other fields. And following the formalization ceremony, Ambassadors Tangara and Thompson held talks on areas of common interest between their 2 countries and potential areas of cooperation at the United Nations, including peacekeeping and the place of small states in the UN system. Well, coming up in sports, a national records fall at swimming championship. And Daveta and Yamadhya lead their pools at the Central Coast Sevens.
Sarwanduru na kaloko na Radio Fiji 1 and Domibiki na Bungani Binano. Nisambula binaka na ngonoboro taki ni rongo sere na ngona nindreko malolo. Nisambula binaka. Oye wa meli kilani. Ningi na magati umena nungu bengi rawi maina moni tiki na warombuka na rua kina wana kaloko na ngona ni rongo mani besana. Waki na wano na ngona ni rongo sere na Radio Fiji 1 na Domibiki na Bungani Binano.
Welcome to FBC Sports. Now, national records have been broken at the BSP Short Course Age Grade National Swimming Championships. The three-day tournament in Suva has seen tough competition from young swimmers.
Up-and-coming swimmers have been battling it out since Thursday. And for those willing to go the extra mile, there is glory.
We've seen a lot of healthy competition with 36 age group national records being broken so far. And we've got a whole load of finals again this afternoon, and that includes 23 open records across the board. So I think it's been tough and healthy and great to see so many young and new swimmers coming through and performing very well.
Fiji Swimming Association President Jerome Cardo says the competition has grown over the years and organizers are confident they are grooming national reps for the future.
With the records falling, then we're showing, not only are we building up in quantity, we're also building up in quality as well in terms of numbers.
9 clubs are competing in the short course age group competition, but the number of swimmers have grown for every club.
At the end of the day, the center of all of this development is the athletes. And in terms of what we're doing, we've been running camps. We've taken a large number of swimmers offshore for exposure, and the results of that are beginning to really show.
Finals are currently underway at the Damwada Aquatic Center in Suva. Josephine Navula, FBC Sports.
In rugby, the Sakuna Bowl Challenge aims to produce athletes to represent Fiji in international tournaments. Co-chairman of the tournament, Alipate Vasaidake, says the event will be used to showcase raw talents that can be developed for national duties.
Objective for this year and for the next 4 years is how many people would we develop within the two forces to represent Fiji in all sports, from volleyball to netball to cricket to boxing and also soccer and rugby.
Meanwhile, ANZ has sponsored the 2014 Sakuna Bowl Challenge and $50,000 and Vodafone Fiji with $25,000. Western teams Daveta and Yamadhya are currently leading their individual pool after the day 1 of the Central Coast Sevens tournament. Red Rock made an impressive comeback on winning their second pool match against Star Rugby 45-12. Well, this was after the Lotharasinger coach side was defeated by Wellington 15-7 in their first match. The team is currently second after Wellington in their pool. Western teams Yamadhya and Daveta both won their pool matches on the first day of the tournament. Daveta defeated Tribal 2014 and also College Rifles 31-5 in their second match in the men's Pool B competition. Yamadhya defeated Brazil 26-10 and also Sunnybank 29-17 in Pool C. Meanwhile, in the women's category, Fijiana won both their pool matches after thrashing Ruggles 48-0 and defeated Marobra Magic 45-5. The finals of the tournament will be held tomorrow. Well, rain was experienced over most parts of the country today. A trough of low pressure with associated cloud and rain remains slow-moving over Solomons and extends southeastwards over the northern parts of Vanuatu and southern parts of Fiji. Meanwhile, another trough lies slow-moving just west of Tuvalu. Looking at the temperatures, they were fairly warm around the country today. Ba was a high of 30 degrees this afternoon. Well, tomorrow's forecast is for rain over the Fiji group. As for Monday, occasional showers over the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands. Afternoon or evening showers elsewhere. Southeast winds 20 to 25 knots. Rough seas, moderate southeast swells. Recapping our main stories, work has begun on a 5-year development plan for Fiji with plans for better coordination of donor funds. Opposition MP Biman Prasad says remove all decrees. However, the government thinks otherwise. And more than 300 Fijian troops safe amid growing violence in Sinai. On to this week's poll question. Are real estate prices in Fiji realistic? Visit our FBC website to take part on www.fbc.com.fj. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our Facebook page FBC News. If you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or hashtag FBC News. That's all from us. I will be back again tomorrow. I'd suggest that you invest in an umbrella given the weather, the rain forecast. Until then, good night.
यू ट्रेन से मिर्ची एफएम पर रफ्तार में मैं आपके हम सफर साथी कृष्णील शामिल हो चुका हूं और फिजी में विदेश में आप जहां कहीं पर भी हमें सुन रहे हैं, कृष्णील का प्यार आप तमाम दोस्तों तक पहुंचे। हेलो गाइस, मैं हूं डीजे कृष्णील। आप हमें सुन सकते हैं मिर्ची एफएम रफ्तार में मंडे टू फ्राइडे शाम 3 से लेकर रात 7 तक हम आपको रॉक कराएंगे। मिर्ची एफएम इट्स हॉट।
अब दिल करता है हौले हौले से मैं तो खुद को गले लगा